Steve Harvey stopped the show when a foster child asked if he was worth loving. A question so raw, so real, that it silenced thousands of people in an instant. But what happened next wasn't just emotional. It was life-changing. This is the story of how one moment transformed a broken boy's entire existence. Marcus has been invisible his entire life. Not because nobody could see him, but because nobody wanted to keep him. He walked through hallways with his head down, his voice barely a whisper, hoping that if he made himself small enough, quiet enough, maybe someone would finally choose to love him. At 5 years old, Marcus was taken from his mother. He didn't understand why. He just knew he was going somewhere new. Somewhere that didn't feel like home. The social workers spoke in hushed tones, using words he couldn't comprehend. All he knew was the cold feeling in his chest, the ache of being torn away from the only person he had ever known. 7 different homes, 7 different families, 7 different rejections. Each house looked different on the outside. Some were big and grand, others small and modest. But inside, they all felt the same, temporary. Like he was a guest who had overstayed his welcome before he even arrived. Each time Marcus thought maybe this one would be different. Maybe this family would see something in him worth keeping. Maybe they would look past his behavioral issues, his nightmares, his struggle to trust. But each time, the answer was the same. We can't do this anymore. He's too much. We're not equipped for this. By the time Marcus turned 14, he had stopped believing. He had stopped hoping. He had stopped asking the question that lived inside his chest every single day. Am I worth loving? The question had become too painful to ask. So instead, he buried it deep down, convinced that the answer was no. But Marcus didn't know his entire life was about to change in a single moment. He didn't know that one man, one question, and one act of genuine compassion would crack open the walls he had spent 14 years building around his heart. The studio audience was electric that day. Thousands of people packed into the theater, excited to be part of something special. The air hummed with anticipation, with the kind of energy that only comes when people know they're about to witness something meaningful. But Marcus didn't feel the electricity. He felt the weight of 14 years pressing down on his shoulders as he sat in the green room, waiting to be called on stage. He had been selected for a special segment, a surprise appearance on one of the biggest talk shows in America. The producers had told him it would be fun, that he would get to meet someone famous. They had explained the whole thing to him beforehand, trying to make it sound exciting, trying to ease his nerves. But Marcus had learned not to get excited about things. Excitement only led to disappointment. Hope only led to heartbreak. So he had nodded along, pretended to be grateful, and prepared himself mentally for whatever came next. When the stage manager called his name, Marcus stood up slowly. His legs felt heavy, like they were moving through water. His palms were sweating. His heart was pounding in his chest so hard he thought everyone around him could hear it. The roar of the crowd hit him like a wave as he walked out onto the stage. Bright lights blinded him momentarily. He squinted, trying to see where he was supposed to sit, trying to orient himself in this unfamiliar world of cameras and faces and expectations. And then he saw him, Steve Harvey. The man was smiling, genuine and warm, like he actually cared that Marcus was there. Not like he was doing a job. Not like this was just another segment in a long day of tapings. Not like Marcus was just another foster kid brought on for ratings. Like Marcus actually mattered. Like his presence meant something. Steve extended his hand and shook Marcus's firmly. His grip was strong but gentle, confident but not intimidating. "Hey, buddy, how are you doing today?" His voice was kind, steady, and something about it made Marcus's throat tight. There was no judgment in it, no pity, just genuine warmth. Marcus mumbled a response. He wasn't good at talking to people. Years of rejection had taught him to keep his words locked away, safe inside where they couldn't be used against him. Words could hurt. Words could be twisted. Words could be used as ammunition later. So he kept them minimal, kept them guarded, kept them close to his chest. Steve didn't push. He just gestured for Marcus to sit down and began asking him simple questions. Where was he from? What was his favorite subject in school? Did he have any hobbies? What did he like to do in his free time? The questions were easy, unthreatening, but they were also something Marcus rarely experienced: genuine interest. Most people asked questions out of obligation or curiosity. Steve asked like he actually wanted to know the answers. As Marcus answered, he noticed something remarkable. Steve wasn't looking at his phone. He wasn't checking his notes. He wasn't distracted by the producers or the cameras or the thousands of people watching. He was fully present, listening to every word like Marcus was the most important person in the room. In that moment, something shifted inside him. A tiny crack in the wall, a small opening in the fortress he had built around his heart. The conversation flowed naturally. Marcus found himself relaxing slightly. Steve shared stories, made him laugh, treated him like an equal rather than a charity case. Minutes passed. The audience was silent, absorbed in the moment. This wasn't a typical talk show segment. This was something real, something authentic. Then Steve asked the question that would change everything. He leaned forward slightly, his expression becoming more serious, more intentional. His eyes locked onto Marcus's with an intensity that was both comforting and terrifying. "Marcus, do you believe you're worth loving?" The studio fell silent. The audience stopped moving. Even the cameras seemed to hold their breath. Marcus felt his chest tighten. His eyes began to water. He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. His hands trembled in his lap. This wasn't a casual question. This was the question. The one that had haunted him for 14 years, the one he had been running from his entire life. Steve waited. He didn't rush. He didn't fill the silence with empty words. He just sat there, present, patient, giving Marcus the space to feel whatever he was feeling. And in that moment, surrounded by thousands of strangers, under the bright studio lights, with cameras capturing every second, Marcus finally allowed himself to cry. The tears came slowly at first, then all at once. Marcus couldn't stop them. Years of pain, rejection, and loneliness poured out of him, like a dam that had finally broken. His shoulders shook violently. His breath came in short, ragged gasps. He tried to compose himself, tried to hold it together, tried to maintain some semblance of dignity in front of thousands of strangers. But there was nothing left to hold on to. The fortress walls had crumbled, the protective barriers had dissolved. All that remained was raw, honest emotion. Steve didn't look away. He didn't offer platitudes or empty reassurances. He didn't fumble for the right words or try to make the moment less uncomfortable. Instead, he reached over and placed a hand on Marcus's shoulder. It was a simple gesture, but it meant everything. It said without words, "I see you. I'm here. You're not alone. Your pain matters. You matter." The audience watched in stunned silence. Some were crying too. Their own stories, their own struggles, their own moments of rejection and pain were bubbling to the surface. The cameras kept rolling, capturing this raw, unfiltered moment of human vulnerability. This wasn't entertainment. This wasn't a manufactured moment designed to boost ratings or create a viral clip. This was truth. This was real. This was what it looked like when someone finally allowed themselves to be seen. When Marcus finally found his voice, it was barely a whisper, so quiet that the microphones had to strain to pick it up. "I don't know," he said, his voice cracking with emotion. "I've never felt like I was worth loving. Every family that took me in, they gave me back. Like I was broken. Like there was something fundamentally wrong with me that couldn't be fixed. Like I was defective merchandise that needed to be returned." Steve nodded slowly, understanding the weight of those words in a way that most people never could. He had spent years in the entertainment industry, had interviewed countless people, had heard many stories. But this was different. This was a child carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. "And what do you think now?" he asked gently, his voice soft but steady. Marcus looked at him, really looked at him. He studied his face, searching for signs of pity or judgment. He saw the sincerity in Steve's eyes. He saw a man who had taken time out of his day, out of his life, out of his busy schedule, to sit with a 14-year-old foster kid and ask him the most important question anyone had ever asked him. Not as a talk show host, not as a celebrity, but as a human being speaking to another human being. "I think—" Marcus paused, searching for the words, struggling to articulate feelings he had never been taught to express. "I think maybe I've been looking for love in the wrong places. I've been waiting for someone else to tell me I'm worth it. I've been looking to other people to validate my existence, to confirm that I deserve to be here. But maybe I have to believe it first. Maybe the only person who can convince me that I'm worth loving is myself." The words surprised him even as he spoke them. He didn't know where they came from. They seemed to bubble up from somewhere deep inside, from a place he thought had been buried forever under layers of pain and disappointment. It was as if a part of him that had been dormant, waiting for permission to wake up, had finally been given the signal to emerge. Steve smiled, and it was the kind of smile that changes a person. The kind that says, "I believe in you. I see your potential. I see your worth." The kind of smile that Marcus would remember for the rest of his life. "That's the wisest thing I've heard all week," he said, and he meant it. "You know what I see when I look at you, Marcus?" Marcus shook his head, bracing himself for whatever would come next. "I see a young man who has survived 14 years of heartbreak and still has the capacity to hope. I see someone who is brave enough to sit here and be vulnerable in front of thousands of people, in front of millions of people watching at home. I see someone who has endured more pain than most adults will ever experience and who is still standing. I see someone who is absolutely, without a doubt, worth loving." The studio erupted. The audience stood up, applauding, cheering, crying. But Marcus barely heard them. The noise seemed distant, muted, like it was coming from another world. He was focused on Steve's words, replaying them over and over in his mind like a song he couldn't get out of his head. Worth loving. Worth loving. Worth loving. Not because he was perfect. Not because he had accomplished something extraordinary. Not because he had achieved great things or proven his value through success. But simply because he existed. Because he was human. Because he deserved it. Because everyone deserves it. Steve pulled Marcus into a hug, and for the first time in his life, Marcus didn't pull away. He didn't flinch or retreat into himself. He let himself be held. He let himself feel safe in the arms of a stranger who had somehow become more of a parent to him in 30 minutes than any of his 7 foster families had been in 14 years. He let himself feel protected. He let himself believe, even if just for a moment, that maybe, just maybe, he was worth something after all. When they pulled apart, Steve looked directly into the camera. His expression had shifted from warmth to determination. This wasn't just a talk show moment anymore. This was a call to action. "I want everyone watching this to know something," he said, his voice firm and passionate, carrying the weight of conviction. "There are thousands of children in foster care right now. Thousands of Marcuses. Children who feel invisible. Children who have been told they're not worth keeping. Children who have internalized the message that there's something wrong with them. And I'm asking you, if you've ever thought about opening your home, opening your heart, this is the moment. These children deserve to know what Marcus is learning right now. That they are worthy of love, that they matter, that they belong, that they are not broken, that they are not defective, that they are exactly what a family needs." The segment ended, but something had shifted in the world. The video would go viral within hours. Millions of people would watch it. News outlets would pick it up. Social media would explode with stories of foster children, of families opening their homes, of lives being changed. The clip would be shared thousands of times. People would cry watching it. People would be inspired by it. People would be moved to action because of it. But for Marcus, none of that mattered yet. What mattered was the feeling in his chest. The crack in the wall had become a door, and through that door, light was beginning to pour in. Warm, golden light, the light of possibility, the light of hope, the light of a future that suddenly seemed worth living. As he walked off the stage, Steve pulled him aside into a quiet corner, away from the cameras and the producers and the chaos. "This isn't goodbye, Marcus," he said, placing both hands on Marcus's shoulders and looking him directly in the eye. "This is just the beginning. I want to stay in touch with you. I want to see where your life goes from here. I want to be part of your story. And I want you to know that you can call me anytime you need someone to talk to, anytime you doubt yourself, anytime you need to be reminded that you're worth loving." Marcus nodded, unable to speak. His throat was tight with emotion. For the first time in 14 years, he felt something he had almost forgotten was possible. Hope. Real, tangible, undeniable hope. The kind of hope that doesn't come from wishful thinking or naive optimism. The kind of hope that comes from being truly seen and accepted by another human being. That night, Marcus went back to his current foster home. He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, unable to sleep. His mind was racing. His heart was full. Something fundamental had shifted inside him. The question Steve had asked, "Do you believe you're worth loving?" was no longer unanswerable. The answer was yes. It was finally, definitively, undeniably yes. The days following his appearance on the talk show felt surreal for Marcus. He woke up each morning with a newfound sense of purpose, the echoes of Steve's words ringing in his ears. "You are worth loving." It was as if a heavy fog had lifted, revealing a world that was suddenly vibrant and full of possibilities. He found himself smiling more, engaging in conversations with his foster siblings, and even participating in school activities he had once shied away from. Each day felt like a small victory, a testament to his resilience and the power of self-belief. Marcus had always been known as the quiet kid at school, the one who blended into the background, often overlooked by both peers and teachers. He was skilled at avoiding attention, a strategy he had honed over the years as a way to shield himself from the pain of rejection. But now, he felt an undeniable shift within him. He started to take small but significant steps, like raising his hand in class to answer questions, joining the art club to explore his creativity, and even volunteering to help with the school's community service projects. Each act felt monumental, like climbing a mountain. The thrill of being noticed and appreciated was exhilarating, and it fueled his desire to keep moving forward. One afternoon, while working on a mural for a local community center with a group of classmates, Marcus found himself chatting and laughing with them. They were sharing stories, discussing their interests, and he realized he was no longer on the outside looking in. He was part of the group, and it felt good. As he painted, he thought about how far he had come in just a few short weeks. The support from the community, the encouragement from his foster family, and the unexpected bond with Steve had ignited something deep within him. A flame of hope and determination that he had thought extinguished long ago. Despite the warmth surrounding him, there were still moments of doubt. Late at night, when the world was silent, Marcus would sometimes question whether he truly deserved this newfound happiness. Old fears would creep in, whispering that it wouldn't last, that he would be let down again, just as he had been so many times before. But each time that doubt surfaced, he recalled Steve's reassuring words, and that gave him strength. He began to keep a journal, writing down his thoughts and feelings, creating a safe space to explore his fears and dreams. With each entry, he felt lighter, as if he was shedding layers of doubt and self-criticism, allowing the light of self-acceptance to shine through. One day, while flipping through his journal, Marcus decided to write a letter to Steve. He wanted to express his gratitude, to share how much the experience had changed his life. He poured his heart out onto the page, detailing the impact of their conversation, the way it had shifted his perspective, and how he was beginning to believe in himself. It felt cathartic to articulate his thoughts and emotions, to put into words the transformation he was experiencing. He felt a rush of excitement as he sealed the letter and handed it to his foster mom to send. Weeks passed, and as Marcus continued to embrace the changes in his life, he received a reply from Steve. The envelope was thick, and his hands trembled as he opened it. Inside were not just words, but encouragement, advice, and an invitation. Steve wrote about his own challenges and triumphs, sharing stories of his journey and reminding Marcus that everyone faces struggles. The letter was filled with warmth and sincerity, and it felt like a conversation rather than just a monologue. At the bottom of the letter, Steve included an invitation for Marcus to join him at a charity event in the city, a fundraiser for foster care programs that would take place in just a few days. Marcus's heart raced at the thought. This was an opportunity he never imagined he would have. The idea of attending a charity event with someone like Steve Harvey, someone he had always looked up to, was both exhilarating and terrifying. What if he embarrassed himself? What if he didn't know what to say? What if he didn't belong with all those accomplished adults? But then he remembered how far he had come. He could feel the flicker of hope reigniting within him. With his foster mom's encouragement and support, he decided to go. It was time to step out of his comfort zone once more, to embrace the unknown. The night of the event arrived, and Marcus stood in front of the mirror, adjusting his tie and smoothing down his shirt, making sure he looked presentable. He had picked out his best outfit, something that made him feel confident and proud. As he walked into the venue, the bright lights and elegant decorations overwhelmed him. The atmosphere was buzzing with energy. People were mingling, laughter filled the air, and he felt a flutter of anxiety in his stomach. It was a beautiful place, with decorations that sparkled and glimmered, creating an enchanting ambiance that felt almost surreal. But then he spotted Steve across the room, chatting with a group of people. Steve's eyes lit up when he saw Marcus, and he made his way over, making sure to introduce him to others. "Everyone, this is Marcus. He's a remarkable young man doing incredible things," Steve announced, filling Marcus with a sense of pride and validation. The warmth in the room enveloped him, and for the first time, he felt like he truly belonged. The attention was overwhelming, but it was a good kind of overwhelming, one that made him feel seen and valued. As the evening progressed, Marcus engaged in conversations, shared his story, and listened to the stories of others. He was amazed at the connections he made with people who had dedicated their lives to helping foster children. There was an energy in the room, collective hope that inspired him. It was a reminder that he was not alone in his journey. There were many others who understood the struggles and were fighting to make a difference. Each story he heard resonated with him, and he found himself nodding along, sharing in their joy and pain. During the event, Marcus found himself at a table with several other young people who had experienced foster care. They shared their stories, their challenges, and their dreams. For the first time, he felt understood. They laughed, exchanged ideas, and encouraged one another. It was liberating to be surrounded by people who had walked similar paths, who understood the complexities of their experiences. He felt a sense of camaraderie with them, as if they were all part of a secret club that only those who had faced adversity could appreciate. As the night came to a close, Steve took the stage to speak. He shared his gratitude for everyone in the room, emphasizing the importance of community and support. "Together, we can change lives," he said, his voice resonating with conviction. "Every child deserves a chance. Every child deserves to know they are loved." The audience erupted into applause, and Marcus felt a surge of pride at being part of such a meaningful cause. As Steve spoke, Marcus reflected on his journey so far. He had come from a place of feeling unloved and undeserving to standing in a room full of people who believed in him and his potential. The transformation was astounding, and he was filled with gratitude for all the support he had received. He realized that the love and encouragement he had experienced were not just gifts, but responsibilities to himself and to others who were still struggling. After the event wrapped up, Steve approached Marcus once more. "You did great tonight," he said, clapping him on the back. "I'm proud of you, Marcus. You've come so far." Marcus beamed, his heart swelling with joy. "Thank you for everything, Steve. This night, it means so much to me. I can't believe I'm here." Steve nodded, a knowing smile on his face. "This is just the beginning, Marcus. Keep pushing forward. Keep believing in yourself. You're capable of amazing things." With those words echoing in his mind, Marcus left the venue feeling transformed. He stepped out into the night, the world around him shimmering with possibility. He was no longer just a foster child. He was Marcus, a young man with dreams, aspirations, and a future that was finally his to shape. The night sky was clear, and the stars twinkled above him, as if cheering him on. As he walked home, he couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement about what lay ahead. He envisioned himself pursuing his passions, perhaps even helping other kids like him one day. The journey wouldn't be easy, but he was ready to face it head on. With each step, he felt lighter, more hopeful and more alive than he had felt in years. As the weeks passed, Marcus found himself in a whirlwind of change. The charity event had sparked a fire within him, igniting his passion for advocacy and community service. Inspired by the stories he had heard and the connections he had made, he began to take a more active role in his life and the lives of others around him. He was no longer just a passive observer. He was a participant, eager to make a difference. With the encouragement of his foster mom, Marcus decided to volunteer at the local community center every Saturday. The center served as a safe haven for many kids in the neighborhood, offering after-school programs, tutoring, and recreational activities. Marcus felt drawn to the idea of giving back, of being a positive role model for younger children who might be facing similar challenges. He remembered what it felt like to be lost and alone, and he wanted to help others find their way. The first Saturday at the community center was nerve-wracking. Marcus arrived early, his heart racing as he walked through the doors. The bright colors of the walls and the sounds of laughter and chatter filled the space, creating a warm, inviting atmosphere. As he entered the main room, he was greeted by the sight of children playing games, working on art projects, and chatting with each other. It was a vibrant, chaotic scene that made him smile. "Hey there," a cheerful voice called out. It was Sarah, one of the staff members he had met during his training session. "You must be Marcus. We're so glad you're here. We could really use your help with the art corner." Marcus nodded, feeling a mix of excitement and apprehension. "Sure. What do you need me to do?" "Just help the kids with their projects and keep the area organized. They love to create, and your energy will inspire them," Sarah encouraged, her enthusiasm infectious. Before he knew it, Marcus was surrounded by a group of eager children, all of them excited to show off their artwork and share their ideas. He knelt down to their level, engaging them in conversations about their drawings, asking questions, and offering praise. The joy on their faces reminded him of his own childhood dreams and the importance of nurturing creativity. He felt a sense of fulfillment as he helped them refine their projects, suggesting colors and techniques, and watching their imaginations come to life. As the weeks turned into months, Marcus became a regular fixture at the community center. He built strong connections with the children, especially a group of younger boys who looked up to him as a big brother figure. They would eagerly await his arrival each Saturday, excited to share their latest creations and to seek his advice. Marcus relished the role. He felt a sense of purpose in guiding them, and he cherished the trust they placed in him. One day, while playing basketball with the boys outside, Marcus overheard them talking about their dreams. "I want to be a superhero," one boy exclaimed, mimicking flying through the air. Another chimed in, "I want to be a famous artist." The conversations were filled with laughter and excitement, but Marcus noticed a flicker of doubt in some of their eyes. They were still young, but the harsh realities of life often crept in, planting seeds of uncertainty. That evening, as he walked home, Marcus reflected on how he could help them believe in their dreams. He remembered the fear and uncertainty he had felt at their age, how easily he had doubted himself. Inspired, he decided to host a dreams workshop at the community center. The goal would be to encourage the kids to articulate their dreams, to create vision boards, and to discuss what steps they could take to achieve their aspirations. The following Saturday, Marcus set up a makeshift workshop in the art corner, laying out supplies for vision boards, magazines, scissors, glue, and markers. As the kids gathered around, their eyes lit up with curiosity. "What are we doing today, Marcus?" one boy asked, bouncing on his heels. "We're going to dream big," Marcus announced, his voice full of enthusiasm. I want each of you to think about what you want to be when you grow up. We're going to make vision boards to help visualize our dreams." The kids cheered, and the energy in the room soared. They eagerly flipped through magazines, cutting out pictures and words that resonated with their aspirations. Marcus walked around, encouraging them, sharing his own dreams and aspirations, and reminding them that believing in themselves was the first step toward making those dreams a reality. As they worked, the room was filled with laughter and chatter. The children shared their dreams. Some wanted to be athletes, others artists, and a few even dreamt of being scientists. Marcus listened intently, validating their hopes and helping them articulate their goals. By the end of the workshop, each child had created a vibrant vision board filled with their dreams. The pride on their faces was unmistakable, and Marcus felt a deep sense of satisfaction. He had helped them see the possibilities in their lives, just as Steve had done for him. After the workshop, one of the boys, Danny, approached Marcus with wide eyes. "Do you really think I can be a famous basketball player?" he asked, his voice laced with uncertainty. "Absolutely, Danny. But remember, it takes hard work and dedication. You have to practice and believe in yourself," Marcus replied, kneeling down to meet him at eye level. "And I'll be here to support you every step of the way." Danny's face lit up with determination. "I will practice every day," he declared, and Marcus couldn't help but smile. He was witnessing the power of belief and encouragement in action, and it filled him with hope for the future. As the months continued to unfold, Marcus found himself becoming not only a mentor, but a leader within the community. He organized more workshops, focusing on various themes such as teamwork, resilience, and self-acceptance. He invited guest speakers, including local artists and athletes, to share their journeys and inspire the kids. The community center transformed into a hub of creativity and empowerment, and Marcus felt proud to be part of it. His foster family noticed the positive changes in him as well. They saw him growing more confident, more engaged, and more passionate about life. They supported his efforts at the community center, attending events and encouraging him to pursue his dreams. Marcus felt grateful for their unwavering support. It was a stark contrast to his earlier experiences in foster care. He began to see them as a true family, one that believed in him and his potential. One evening, as he sat with his foster mom at the dinner table, she turned to him with a warm smile. "Marcus, we're so proud of you. You're doing amazing things at the community center. You're making a real difference in those kids' lives," she said, her voice filled with genuine admiration. "Thank you," Marcus replied, his heart swelling with gratitude. "It means a lot to me. I just want to help them see that they can achieve their dreams, just like I'm starting to believe in mine." His foster mom nodded, her eyes sparkling with pride. "You're a role model, Marcus. Keep shining your light. You're capable of so much more than you realize." As he lay in bed that night, Marcus reflected on how far he had come. The boy who once felt unworthy of love and belonging was now a young man who inspired others to chase their dreams. He thought about Steve's words, about the transformative power of encouragement, and he felt a renewed sense of purpose. He was ready to embrace whatever came next, prepared to face challenges head-on, and determined to make a positive impact on the world around him. With a heart full of hope and a mind brimming with dreams, Marcus drifted off to sleep, ready for the adventures that awaited him.